professional writing courses at the University of Oklahoma. I've taught scene sequel writing for nearly a century. Scene sequel writing is not new, and there are many variants. I'm doing this today, July 23rd, 2025. This is my Substack. Scene sequel writing is an aspect of plot in storytelling. It was first taught by a writer at OU known as Foster Harris. Then by a guy who went by two names depending on what he was writing, like Mark Twain and Samuel Clemens. Stanley Vestal was his given name, and later he took the name Walter S. Campbell. Later taught by Dwight Swain, Jack Bickham, Deborah Chester. You can still learn about scene sequel writing at OU. You can earn a bachelor or a master's degree there in professional writing. Took this image from the OU website. And you'll see here at the bottom, the college offers BA, MA, PhD in journalism, advertising and public relation, and media arts, and a master's degree in professional writing. That's the MPW. Differs from the MFA. Now, Dwight Swain revised scene sequel writing into its most popular form. He wrote a 1965 book that was titled Tricks and Techniques of the Selling Writer. Swain came into my aunt's Oklahoma City bookstore all the time. He gave a copy to my aunt, who gave it to me. That's my aunt, Verna Carter. It's one of her bookstores. Mid-60s. It's a book, Tricks. It's a hardback with a dust cover. Tricks and Techniques of the Selling Writer. A manual for the author writing in today's market. He was writing this for people writing stories for magazines, even though that market was drying up. Happened fast. This 1965 book was advertised as the third in a series. The other two books were Stanley Vestal, Walter Campbell's 1940 and 1950 book. This is the inside of that dust cover. In a real sense, this manual is the natural successor to writing magazine fiction and writing advice and devices. Since Dwight V. Swain studied and worked with Walter S. Campbell, the author of those two classics in the field of fiction writing. Everybody knew those books back then. I have not found a copy of the 1930s 30-ish magazine article where Foster Harris describes scene sequel writing, but apparently it's very much like Stanley Vestal's 1940 book. So, writing magazine fiction, Stanley Vestal, Walter S. Campbell, Director, Courses in Professional Writing, University of Oklahoma. Books by Stanley Vestal. You notice they put Walter S. Campbell in parentheses because they was published originally as Stanley Vestal. I have a copy of The Wine Room Murder, which is a good murder mystery. I think that may have been made into a movie. I don't know if the title. So This is The Basic Patterns of Plot by Foster Harris. I'll do a separate video about that sometime. This book, this is the one I'm talking about, copyright 1940, and he dedicated it to Foster Harris. So again, this is still the 1940 book, talking about the scene, unit of plot. Scene is a unit of plot, a dramatic unit. It has nothing to do with scenery. It is a play, like a play-by-play account of a prize fight or ball game. Here it is, the complete formula for the scene. Meeting, purpose, encounter, which is the conflict under Swain. Final action, win, lose, quit, and then sequel. Goes into sequel more. Decade later, Campbell's writing, advice, and devices. Walter S. Campbell, Director, Courses in Professional Writing, University of Oklahoma. This is 1950, 10 years later. He goes into slightly more detail. The scene is a unit of dramatic action, like a round in a prize fight. It follows a definite formula as follows: meeting of the two forces, purpose of one or both. This is information you give to the reader. Encounter, final action, win, lose, or quit. And the sequel, you must make sure the reader understands the state of affairs and your viewpoint character's state of mind. "15 years after Campbell's last book and 25 years after his 1940 book, and 35 years after Foster Harris's magazine article, Dwight V. Swain's book came out. A story is a chain of scenes and sequels. Scene structure, goal, conflict, disaster. Sequel, reaction, dilemma, decision. All right, I'm switching over. We're done talking about that, sort of. We're talking about Harding Lemay. He's a successful playwright in both Europe and the United States. His 1971 memoir is about his playwright career. Inside Looking Out by Harding Lemay was nominated for a National Book Award. He then became head writer for the daytime soap opera Another World. He wrote or supervised the writing for a complete television episode each day, 5 days a week for 8 years. His 1981 memoir about writing for soap operas was titled 8 Years in Another World. Inside story of a soap opera. I've also got the, this is the Kindle version. Now, he talks about soap operas ignore a cardinal rule of playwriting. Soap writers avoided bringing antagonistic characters into direct confrontation. Every dramatic situation was based upon a secret. You're employing dramatic irony. That's where the audience knows something one or most of the characters don't know. And that's what is the commonplace was one character on the show would know something. The other characters would not know. And it had a daily viewership of between 10 and 11 million people. They all know. The wife and none of the other characters know. The wife only knows her legs don't feel like they're working right. She doesn't know her husband is poisoning her. You can't end the scene as a disaster in writing a soap if you're writing a prose novel or for television. So disaster, Swain's pretty much the only one that says to end with disaster. You don't need to weasel word it. He's just wrong for different types of writing. He's talking about writing, Dwight Swain was talking about writing magazine articles for a market that doesn't really exist anymore. Well, John Franklin, decided to use these techniques in nonfiction, and it brought him 2 Pulitzer Prizes. So, for writing feature stories. And I used some of these techniques. Should have done a better job, but did what I could as fast as I could. So, and my book, Nightmare in Wichita by Robert Beatty, is number 4 on the New York Times paperback bestseller nonfiction list, April 10th, 2005. It was on the list, I can't remember. I think it was 9 weeks. Main or extended list. All right. Now I have other videos on my YouTube channel about writing, and I've done all kinds of writing. Now I haven't always been successful. I mean, I tried to get into writing for comic books. Didn't sell anything. So I next plan to talk about Strunk and White, the elements of style.